Yeah,
that's an interview, man. Yeah. Oh, get out. Yeah. We realised we were both YouTubers, so we were like, come on. Michael Greth here, SharePoint community, YouTube subscriber. Head over there and subscribe. One word, SharePoint community. 366 videos. Tell me a little bit, how did you get started on YouTube?
9 or 10 years ago, I uploaded my first video on YouTube. Over the years, I started to do videos on every location and every occasion. We started a video format on our SharePoint community. It's called the SharePoint Sendung. We had 18 regular episodes over 5 years, and it was really well produced. On the other hand, I'm trying to do live video on Facebook, video on LinkedIn, and whatever.
What was the original plan when you started? Was it just kind of what's going on, or did you have like a specific vision, and how did you get started?
Initially, I get started with an app that's called Quick, Q-I-K.
Okay.
It was a very small app that runs on a Nokia N91 phone and does very small, I think, 3GP formats, mini videos. And it was one of the first live streaming things you can do on a Nokia phone. And
live stream 10
live
years ago.
Stream, yeah.
And
I was on a conference, on Microsoft conference, a big conference, and I had a session about SharePoint Designer, and I showed him how to integrate this little video into my SharePoint site, and it was fascinating. It was one of the first things I tried to do with video. When I started, it was just, hey, I can do it. On the other hand, I do podcasts, and I'll start to publish the podcast on the site. So February will be 14 years,
wow.
And so I was one of the first podcasters in Germany. Yeah, when podcasting came up, so I'm a radio guy. So right. I grew up in Berlin, and we have a very rich radio infrastructure here in Berlin, and so I'm very addicted to radio. The idea of podcasting, I was like, oh, that's cool. I can do my own radio show, my podcast show. And then the question was, what would be the topic? So, and then I was running the SharePoint community in 2005 and said, hey, let's talk about SharePoint. And so I started my podcast, and currently I have 403 episodes, and it's running and running and running. And so, it's always fun. And 80% of all is to get organized, to create a good workflow. And I think that's absolutely necessary to have a very structured workflow to get a sustainable.
Yeah, I've started batching. Put time aside and then bang out a whole bunch of episodes and then schedule them up so I know that they're going to be there, because there'll always be something that comes up. If you kind of say to yourself, oh, I'm going to film this like every Tuesday, something will come up that gets in the way, and then you'll miss your slot, and you don't want to miss your slot for your community. Yeah. So how did you get over the initial, being on video, worry about quality, worry about content? Was that ever really a concern for you, or were you just more concerned with just getting it out there than
Quality was always a major concern for me. I dropped lots of interviews or things I have already recorded and didn't publish it because I wasn't satisfied with it. Yeah. So I tried to always provide good quality, audio quality that is quite expensive or could be expensive. Over 14 years, I think I wouldn't know what I've spent it. In techniques, but now I have a very good setup. We have a good microphone from Sennheiser. We have a Rode newscaster. I got a Zoom for recording. These are all not cheap, but and not very expensive devices, but they cost them money. Yeah. But on the other hand, this microphone, I have another one, the MD46 from Sennheiser. I have it for over 10 years right now. It is absolutely reliable, and if it's Sam, you can drive a nail in the wall if it's needed. So it's very robust. So good quality was always a big concern for me, and audio is the number one thing you have to look after in a video.
People can be like their own worst enemy with this stuff, and I've needed to get past that kind of perfectionism and trying to just be focused on the value over the production, but at the same time try and get good production. But I think you make a good point of what people don't see is the 100 interviews that you've done that never make it. Right, it's all of the fails. I think you can easily look at all this video stuff and see people producing and say, oh, I could never do that, or I'd struggle to do that. It's like, yeah, but this is us failing. This is just the good stuff. Yeah. And I try and encourage people to just get stuck in, and you don't have to ever share this stuff at first if you're not happy with it. But until you get in that rhythm and you get used to talking to people and being in front of the camera and listening to your own voice when you listened it back. It's really hard to get started.
Yeah, but you get used to it, and you have to look after quality. And when I started podcasting, there was almost nothing.
Yeah.
When you want to ask for a good microphone connecting with USB, that wasn't there. Right now, when you go online, you have hundreds of mics. There are tons of reviews. What is the best microphone for a podcast or for the video? It's not an option to create a bad sounding and a bad podcast or a video. And on the other hand, for video, it's quadruple the effort. So it's a lot more. For me, it's the effort to reduce it as low as possible from the effort and still produce acceptable quality.
Yeah.
And so with my 2 iPhones here, I can do this video recording. It's very comfortable with a simple mic. On the other hand, I think you have the Mevo too. When I publish it on YouTube, with that setup I here have, it's sufficient. It's for me it's sufficient. You can do so much in post-production.
Yeah, I think you learn on the job though, don't you? It's like at first you just kind of put it out there and then you kind of get introduced to new stuff. And I'd really recommend podcasting to people who want to start putting themselves out there because the setup cost is so low. Like the podcast mic that I used, it sounds lovely. It was £50.
Yeah.
And it's a USB mic. I just used my iPhone to record it, and literally I just have a mic that's this big and a pop filter, and that's my whole podcast. It just breaks down those barriers to entry. If you're not ready for all of the changing aspects of video, it's going to put you off content creation completely before you've even started, which I got a few years ago. I started and I was like, oh, I can't be bothered. So I started my podcast instead, and that was like, this is so much easier, and that worked for me.
I think I have about 500 subscribers over the years because I've always done my podcast in German because I want to focus on the German market. Podcasting has a problem that you don't get a lot of feedback. But if you're on conferences and on events, people come to me and say, hey, thank you very much for your podcast. I'm listening for it. It's great stuff. And so
I get emails from people saying, oh, I listen to you when I'm on my bike on the way to work. And it's like, what we do is super niche.
Yeah.
Like, it's your podcast, SharePoint community, mine's like, collaboration on ESN. That is a niche topic. And everyone says, go niche, but this is niche. So to think you can get that many subscribers and that many people, if you were to walk in a room with 500 people, all those 500 people in that room and see them in real life, that would be huge. That would be huge. And I try and encourage people to remember the people behind these numbers and not just chase the numbers, because that's a big deal.
Adam Curry, when he started promoting podcasts, he said, yeah, this is your medium to promote your niche.
3 ways that people can get started and start content creating.
If you want to start to create video, take your smartphone. You have everything on your smartphone to create a good video. Maybe you attach an external microphone to get a better sound quality. And for podcasting, the same. Get a good microphone. And most important, create a workflow. If you want to start, maybe you should think about to do it twice a month. That would be just to start and to create an audience and to repeat it. Very easy to publish this podcast. Find a topic you are passionate about, because when you're working on a podcast, you have to be passionate about your topic, and because it's a very intimate format, and people, I think, really know very well when you're just talking and you're not stand behind this one.
Yeah, I would second that as well. I mean, those are really, really good advice, but I would second that all. It's like, if you want to do a podcast, really, like you say, it's got to be fairly regular and for a kind of a minimum period of time. So you need a topic that you've got enough interest in. It can't just be this kind of side thing that you do and see how it works out. It's like, no, I've got lots that I want to talk about. Bring your opinion, speak your truths, and don't feel like you have to come up with all the ideas. Get people in, interview people, talk to other people. The burden isn't on you completely to put the whole thing together and to do it. You've got to find what is going to enable you to do what you want to do, not hinder you. If the production's too high, if the editing's too long, and it stops you from doing what you're doing, you need to find another workflow or another medium. Thank you so much for the interview today. So Michael Greth, SharePoint Podcast for the podcast, and SharePoint Community for YouTube. Awesome. Thank you.